We never thought we'd be making a video like this.
It all just happened so fast, I just could not believe what was happening.
A gorgeous day turned into a devastating disaster within seconds. You're probably wondering how it all happened. But let's start from the beginning. We're a family of 4, and in July of 2023, we set off from London to drive around the world, making our way up to the Arctic Circle, across Europe, through the Balkans, down through Turkey, and across Central Asia. With Jane, our Grenadier, and our Patriot trailer, our home on wheels. Our setup has allowed us to reach faraway places where we could escape from the modern world, connect with nature, and feel alive. We had spent nearly a month exploring the wilder side of Kyrgyzstan. Our time here was coming to an end, and we were heading to Kel Suu Lake, our last stop before heading down south to cross over into Western China. We were about an hour away from reaching Kel Suu Lake and decided to take a lunch break on this riverbed. It was a beautiful day and we had the time, so I made one of our favorites, chili. I was standing at the kitchen when all of a sudden I saw what looked like water gushing down from the top of the trailer. But it didn't make sense because there is no water up there. This all happened within seconds, and before I could react, I smelled the fuel. The fuel never even touched the stove, but the fumes were enough to set the whole trailer alight. That was pretty shocking, wasn't it? And I'm sure many of you have lots of questions. We needed a few days before we could talk about what happened. You might be thinking because of the fire we didn't make it to the lake, but here we were heading there without the trailer. By the time we got the fire out and all the debris picked up, it was late afternoon and the nearest town was about 5 hours away. Not knowing if we could even tow the trailer, it made sense to continue 1 hour to a yurt camp near the lake and make a plan from there.
If you haven't been in a yurt before, this is it. Nice high ceiling. Each of them have different patterns. Nice and homey, cozy.
And of course a stove, because it gets very cold at night. That goes up into the ceiling. Wow, this place is like something out of a fairy tale. But as we looked out at the lake, as impressive as it was, we couldn't fully enjoy it or be totally present. Our minds were racing with what we were going to do next. Our dream to travel the world that we worked so hard for and sacrificed so much to make happen literally all went up in flames. Okay, I'm coming down to pick up our trailer, guys. Nope, it's still there. Remember it rained, so yeah, look at it.
Sad. Yeah, guys called it boxy, didn't you?
I smelled the gas and I knew that it was the fuel bag had burst somehow.
These are the giant loop armadillo bags we've been using over the past 4 months to extend our range and reach more remote locations. You fill them with fuel and securely attach them to your vehicle or trailer. The company states that each bag is pressure tested. There are no limitations mentioned regarding the temperature or elevation change. And the straps securing the bags were not overly tight. One of the fuel bags was mounted on the trailer to help distribute the weight more evenly. The rest of the fuel was on top of the Grenadier.
So this is what we had on the trailer. The capacity is 18.9 litres. And this has been under the trailer for 2 days, so you can see the max fill line is here and the fuel's about here. So there's this much expansion plus the expansion of the actual bag. There's no limitation on altitude, like we're about 3,400 meters now. It's fairly warm, but it's not boiling hot by any means. And it was just on the top of the trailer, and we've been traveling with these now for the past 3 or 4 months. But yeah, the fact that this exploded and the fact, like Leah said, that the fuel was gushing down, it's obviously a breach of a seal somewhere and caught fire. So I don't think we're going to be using these again.
And literally as soon as I smelled that, the whole kitchen just went whoosh. The cooker wasn't even like right next to where it was coming down, so it all just happened so fast. I didn't even have a chance to like move the cooker away. But the first thing that I actually did was, I was shouting Matt over and over because I just could not believe what was happening. I shut the gas off for the cooker right away, and then it kind of all got a bit blurry from there. Matt kind of stepped in, and I was just trying to get the kids away because we didn't know, if something could explode or, and initially, I guess you were just trying to save the trailer, weren't you?
Yeah, I just turned around and just saw the whole thing alight, like fully alight, not just a little bit. The whole top of the trailer was lit up. The front of the kitchen was lit up. Leah was screaming, the kids were crying. And so obviously my first thought is make sure they're safe, so they got away. And then the second thought was just try and get all the fuel sources disconnected and away from the trailer, because there's no point trying to put a fire out if there's more fuel going into it. So we've got 2 gas bottles, 2 lithium batteries. But my first thought, I don't know why, was to try and get the fuel bag off the trailer. So I jumped on the top whilst it was like fully ablaze and tried to unclip the fuel bag to push it off, to push it away, because it's actually near a river. So I was hoping just to push it on the stones and then the fire would just naturally go out because the fuel would run out. But it was just too raging. I got one of the clips off and managed to like burn my hand, but the second one I just couldn't. It wasn't worth it, basically. Like Leah said, it was a bit of a blur. There's a lot of screaming and crying and.
Yeah, because I was kind of trying to help Matt out to, just think about what is the best thing to do? What's like the next step?
Yeah, so she shouted fire extinguisher. It's really good. I hadn't thought about that. So I used the fire extinguisher as much as possible on the source of the fire, like the fuel, sorry. But it didn't really do much. It was only a small fire extinguisher. And then it started, it was quite windy, and it was fully ablaze.
And I guess also then we needed to think about unhooking the car and getting the car away, because, the car, we're really remote right now, so we were fully stocked with as much fuel as we can bring. So the car had a bunch of fuel on top of it as well. So we wanted to get the car away as well, and we'll also just save the car. I can't imagine if we lost both things. That would be wild.
So then it was like, you need to disconnect the car and get that off and away. And by the time I turned round, my next thought was like, this fire's arguably a bit out of control, but at least everyone's safe.
And also, at least we were on a riverbed. There was no, like dry grass underneath, because,
Sometimes we do camp, in those situations. So then it was like, okay, let's use the water from the river to put it out. But by that time, there's so much black smoke. So luckily, there was a few other cars actually coming by, and it was unusual to see big plumes of black smoke. So naturally humans are curious, and I think I just looked up and saw people on the ridges around here, and people just came running down and picked up whatever they could and just launched a load of water and just helped. There's another guy in a Russian truck, and he had a fire extinguisher. It was a big one. He used all of that. It still didn't put the fire out. So you can see it was wild, but I don't know, after 10-15 minutes of just launching water, it eventually went out. I mean, it still stunk and was smoking. And then I couldn't get one of the gas bottles was stuck, and it was obviously hot and pressurized. So I was just trying to tell everybody, like, do not go near that, it can still explode. So it's still a dangerous situation. And there was lots of people, like, everyone was trying to help ultimately, but it was a lot of information. You're in shock, you're trying to put the fire out, you're trying to make sure everyone's okay. People are saying, can we help? There's a camp up here. Do you want food? Do you want water? What are you going to do now? So we tied it up the best we could. We didn't just want to like leave it in a mess. So we tied it up the best we could. And then the plan was, let's just go to the lake, relax, and think about what we're going to do next. And now we're coming back, doing the final tidy up, picking everything up that we can. And I think the trailer we should be able to pull it.
So yeah, hopefully we can get it to the nearest town and go from there. Thoughts on just the whole thing?
Ultimately, I mean, my first thought when I saw it was just pure disbelief, like shock. I don't know, I just really thought about all the people that had lost their homes in fires or floods or tornadoes or anything like that, and what it must feel like. It really felt like that, like this is our home. So my deep inner thought is just absolutely gutted. Just, we worked so hard for this. You all right, Laura? And it just all went up in flames. I mean, the most important thing obviously is everyone's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that sometimes, things can just happen out of nowhere that you just didn't expect. You just kind of have to have a little mini funeral for it, because it's obviously the trailer is done. And then, move on from there. And also that Matt is okay because, he was just trying to get all the fuel sources off the trailer so it didn't get worse. And there's just a lot going through my head at that point. So I'm just happy that everyone's okay. And now we just have to, problem solve and come up with a plan.
So it really is just seeing your home on wheels, but not just the home, like your life as well, because it's what it enables you to do. And already we're finding, thinking about what we want to do. We can't just camp tonight like we normally would, so now we have to stay in accommodation. So now costs are going to start spiraling. So we just have to see what we can do, We really push things budget-wise to have this set up. The idea was once we'd spent the money, it would be cheap on the road. So we can't just the kids don't really understand, they would just want to go and buy another trailer and carry on, but it's nice that they do want to carry on. Like Jack just said then, he wants to continue. And one of the guys said there's a trailer shop. But there's a lot to think about, like, will the trip continue? Where do we go now? What happens next? So there's just a lot. Like the first night I didn't sleep at all. It was just replaying events and could you do anything better, or could you have done anything different? And also just all the different potential ways in which this might play out, and how does that all look, and how do you feel about it. So it's just a lot.
We had made so many memories, with plans to do and see so much more.
Okay, Jack. Okay.
Were we really going to let it end like this?
Yeah, most of it's gone.
This shepherd lightened the mood by insisting we all have a ride on his horse. Over the next few days, we'd begin making our way to the city of Osh, where we'd have some big decisions to make. When we got to the nearest town, we cleared out most of the damaged belongings and came up with 3 options. 1. End the trip. 2. Try to rebuild the trailer in Kazakhstan. And 3. Get in touch with Patriot campers and see if they could help in some way. Whatever option we decided on, if it involved going through China, we only had 5 days left to get to the border before our entry date for our Chinese visa expired, so there was no time to waste. We sent off an email to Patriot campers and crossed our fingers. We didn't know how it was going to go, considering the trailer wasn't the cause of the fire, but it was worth a try.
Well, as you can see, we've had quite a catastrophic failure on the tyre front, so we're going to nurse it down the road. There's a mechanic, hopefully not too far away. The tyres come off the wheel now, so yeah, I'll walk up there and see what he has to say. See how it's like a 2-man job.
As inconvenient as this flat tire was, we lucked out with where it happened because there was a local farmer down the road and he was able to fit our extra tire to the wheel. That way, if we got another flat tire in the future, we'd still have our ready-to-use spare that's on the back door. And then we would repair the puncture in the next major town where we could find a mechanic.
We have made it to Osh, and I would like to say that Matt and I both have got some sleep, but we haven't. There's just so much planning going on behind the scenes here. It's just going really quick, and we just haven't had a chance to catch our breath.
So do you want a half-cooked potato?
We don't want to waste food, but we have to draw the line somewhere. We're just checking.
Soy sauce and porridge?
In Osh, Matt jumped on a call with Patriot campers. They'd been following our journey so far, and after they heard what had happened, they wanted to help keep it going. Their team was confident that the trailer could be repaired, and they offered to cover all the parts, which was a huge lifeline. What remained was replacing all that we lost in the trailer, the added costs of accommodation and food by not having our home on wheels, as well as the labor to fix the trailer and the import tax for the parts. So this was a massive hit to our overall plans, and might ultimately mean we won't be able to complete what we set out to do. But a plan was coming together. If you'd like to support us, please subscribe, and we've put a link in the description for anyone who would like to make a donation to help us get our home up and running again. And a big thank you to everyone who watched the last video for your kind words and encouragement. It meant a lot to us. So we headed to the Chinese border based on Patriot's word, with a plan to fix the trailer at the nearest dealership in Mongolia. But the biggest question weighing on us was whether we could even get our burnt trailer into China.